All right, so we got an interview today, Liz.
We do.
I'm excited. Do you remember who this interview is with?
Well, as I said, we are recording a lot of interviews right now. And
we'll put it this way. The name of this episode is going to be called Please Don't Cancel Us.
Oh, well then it's Johnny. Yay.
Yeah.
I finally get to talk to Johnny, and I'm super excited because he's super nice.
Yeah, this is a fun interview in that...
I mean, in a badass kind of way.
It took way longer than it should have taken to happen because I just assumed...
You guys were both being dudes, and you're like, well, apparently this
dudes
is what's
just
happening.
Dudes just know. You can come on the show.
Yeah.
Like, we want him on the show. Like, he's the Rock and Roll Libertarian. Why wouldn't we want him on the show?
Thing. And I'm like, dude,
and
how
he's
did
like, why
you
is this
not
asshole
have
not asking me
Johnny
to be on his show? He had my partner on the show.
Apparently, Johnny is wondering why he's not on the show.
Yeah.
So we finally got Johnny on the show. Hooray! And it was fun.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Good old miscommunications are fun.
I mean, it's what it is.
So, anyways, without further ado, this is our interview with Johnny Rocket of Blast Off with Johnny Rocket.
All right.
All right. So, welcome, Johnny Rocket. Yes.
Shoot, I'm right. I am an open book.
Okay. Well, Liz, you act like you want to start it off.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm cool with just going for the music questions personally. So I was wondering. I mean, as if we didn't already know, what kind of music are you into, Mr. Johnny?
I don't believe you know, Liz. To be honest, because what you think is not what you're gonna get.
Fair enough.
See, here's the thing, though. That might surprise you that I really, I do enjoy rock and roll. I do. I listen to it quite a bit. But what I really listen to when I'm like trying to relax, actually, I listen to jazz more than anything.
Oh, nice.
So so it's not really rock. I mean, I love rock and roll. I think it's badass. But really, I find myself listening to more jazz, and I really enjoy it. So I totally love jazz. Definitely more of the cool jazz, West Coast jazz, 1950s, 60s jazz, and some Creed Taylor stuff from the 70s. But for the most part, I mean, I do like my rockabilly and my old classic rock and roll, sure. But a lot of people, I don't know if they really know that I'm into jazz as much as I am. I actually have a very large record collection of a lot of jazz greats.
On vinyl. That's cool.
On vinyl, yes. I dig vinyl. I have a very good record player. I have a Techniques, and I have a really good Cambridge audio preamp for my record player.
Oh, good Lord.
Very nice.
I have to say it like that. Cambridge.
Right.
Yeah, I have it's a good one. I spent like at least $400 on my record vinyl setup.
Fucking aging hipsters.
Well, anything that gets you to talk like Mr. Howell, I'm okay with. So.
Exactly. Yes, Cambridge audio. Yes.
So you, I'm not going to skip over this question as Liz wants to, because for anyone who might listen to the show who doesn't know your show, what is your place in the Liberty Movement, and how did you find this in the first place?
I've been trying to figure this out for a while. I don't know. I think I do know. It's just kind of hard to explain. I found myself in the Liberty Movement because I give a shit. And I think everything that the state has done is just horrible. And I hate the state. I hate everything it's been doing. And I'm tired of seeing people just go along with it. Like, that irritates the shit out of me when I'm seeing people like, well, there ought to be a law, and there's got to be taxes, and there's got to be this, and we need the state, and we need roads, and blah, 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 blah. Fuck you. That's what pisses me off. And it started because of the military. I think I've gotten my inspiration because I saw the fraud, waste, and abuse of the state while I was in the state. And I just realized, man, we got to do something about this. And I really didn't know where it was, like where like I needed to channel my frustration. And then I found out about this thing called libertarianism. And I'm like, yes. And it appealed to me because I love the ideas behind it. The philosophy, more than anything, not the political party, but the actual philosophy. And I figured, what'd be cool is if I did a show that incorporated music and maybe kind of started translating these complex ideas into modern day bar speak, because I mean, there's a lot of people at a bar and they're mostly union members. But those guys, I mean, we need to be able to talk to these fuckers, right? And that was the goal. Like, I need to talk, because I could talk everyday person talk, where a lot of intellectual, blah, 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 non-aggression, a bunch of eggheads sitting around talking about these ideas. They're not going to appeal to these people. Whereas if I put some rock and roll in there and I kind of talk to the average person and not necessarily some high, ivory tower cocksucker in an office with some glasses and a Philadelphia lawyer book collection behind him, that is what I wanted to do, and actually appeal to the average person. And I think there's a lot of people who are doing it now, but I think, especially in music, there's so many damn lefties out there in the music industry and commies that I think we needed a voice for the rock and roll community. And that's where I started. That's where I got my inspiration, because I thought maybe I can do it. I can make a difference. So I can make a dent in this.
How's that going for you?
I think it's doing pretty goddamn well. I'm doing goodly. I'm doing fine. I'm happy.
He's bigly happy.
Yeah. What's that?
Said you're bigly happy.
I am bigly happy. Yes, absolutely. I'm excited to do what I do. And here's the thing. I really enjoy what I do. Like, I feel like I am making a difference. There's a lot of people who message me constantly every day. Man, I love your show. I love what you're doing. And I'm glad you're here doing it.
Well, that must be nice. Who are these people that message you? Nobody messages me. I try and solicit the crap out of this
Liz.
stuff.
That's the problem, dude. They message Liz, not you.
She's just not telling me.
She can tell you about it. She can tell you about it. She'd be like, this person said, you're amazing, Liz, and that guy Nick is cool.
That's not how that conversation usually goes.
Okay.
It's usually, I feel so bad for you. You're a saint, sweetie.
Yeah, well, that's
but the thing is I understand that. That's how this whole thing's supposed to work.
All joking aside, Nick, I mean, you guys are doing really great. You guys make a good team. And usually, that's the thing. It takes a lot of intestinal fortitude to kind of keep going with this, because the payoff isn't always there. Well, in the beginning.
I was actually talking to Dan Reed of the Culinary Libertarian today, and he made mention to me about, he's like, I just don't know if I'm doing well or not. Like, I have no frame of reference on this. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, you just got to keep doing it, because I'm going to tell you now, like, I don't have any clue how I'm doing. I just assume, like, for a while there, it looked like I was getting, subscribers dropping off of my listens. But I think, but it happened right after we joined the network. So I think it was just people were moving to the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think your numbers are doing well. I mean,
I don't know how to tell.
The shows are doing really. So, what's that?
I said I have no idea how to tell. I just do what
you just go to jrlp.podbean.com, and you can find out how many lists or downloads you get.
Okay.
All right. So I guarantee you guys are getting anywhere between 15 to 2,000 downloads a month.
Nice. Cool. I got about 250 on my end still. So.
Right.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, so if you're influencing 250 people, or there are 250 people to 300 are listening every week, guess what? That's a success.
Well, according to, I was listening to, what's his name? I was on Michael Malice's podcast last week, and he was like giving out the numbers for, like, if you have this many people that listen, like what tier of podcasting you're in. Coincidentally, I'm pretty sure everyone on the network is within the top 1% of all podcasters out there.
Are we really?
Believe it or not, we do very well compared with the numbers that he was spitting out. Apparently, like if you're getting like more than 100 listens a week, or 100 listens an episode, you're in like the top 5% right off the bat. Because he's like, he gave that stat also, if you make it past like 8 episodes, you're already in the elite class of podcasters, because most people don't have the stamina to get past that number. Like, they can't do it that long. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, here I am, like, clearly we have people listening, and I feel like I've got no feedback whatsoever. But clearly they're out there.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Hard to tell,
we're libertarians.
Right.
Like, we don't talk to other people. Like, we're socially awkward.
Right.
I'm not. That's what makes us different than everyone else. But like most libertarians, let's face it, are not the coolest people and the most socially, they're a little socially awkward. How's that? All right. I'm not saying that they're stupid, because actually I think they're the most brilliant bunch of folks there is. However, I do think that they need to get out a little more.
Well, I mean, that's what this whole thing is for us.
Yeah.
Like, this has been, in a lot of ways, therapy for Liz.
Yeah, because I had social anxiety like you wouldn't believe, and I love people personally. I get nervous talking to them, so this doing the show has been amazing for me, just to kind of get me out there and get me talking to people, because it gets me past the inertia of actually pushing myself out there so I can actually hear people's stories, and that's what I love. I love getting to know people and, getting to relate to them. So super.
And if you didn't know this, me and Liz both are horrible introverts, Johnny.
Are you really?
Oh, we're terrible. You don't put me in large crowds of people. We'll put it that way. The difference
I
is,
swore that you are like a social butterfly.
The difference is that because I'm a musician and I've been one my whole life, like I had to force myself to like learn how to get past myself. So I'm actually starting a website called theintrovertmusician.com, where I want to try and help people do what I've done, because like I am not good with people at all. Like I spend most of my days terrified to be around people.
Really?
But
see, I wouldn't have guessed that at all.
Well, that's why I said that's why I want to teach people how to do this, because apparently I'm fairly good at it. Most people can't tell that I'm like have horrible social anxiety.
No, I had no idea. Like in real life, I am the like, hey, how you doing? How you doing?
And that is not me.
That's awesome, though.
But I think a lot of that is like some people that comes naturally for. For me, it was a lot of work to get there. Like it was literally forcing yourself to go through the motions of what you think people do, until it just becomes second nature to do things that make you like. It makes me horribly uncomfortable to say hi to people I don't know, but you need to do it. Because like,
you do.
For me, it's like I would never gig. I'd never like if I didn't force myself to talk to venue owners and all that shit. I'd never do it. It would just be it's cool if I play here, man.
That's
like,
tough.
Yeah,
that is tough. Yeah, you do have to force yourself, and I think I there's something to be said about that, because I do think that the more introvert you are, the more likely you are to be intelligent in certain regards. Like I'm kind of stupid. And and that being said, I'm not really, but like
I don't think so.
I mean, I wasn't going to argue with him, but I mean,
be like, no, Johnny, you're brilliant. I'm like, yes, but like,
he's so lucky this isn't a video podcast.
What's that?
So you're so lucky this isn't a video podcast. You can see the looks me and us are giving each other right now.
I was like drooling right now. You didn't see it, like okay.
No, he seems like a pretty smart guy. I'm just saying.
But like that's the thing. I mean, they are. You guys are smart. I mean, that's the reason why we're libertarians. If we were not smart, we wouldn't be libertarians, and we could look beyond all these ideas that are very complex. And I think that's we're not just seeing it as like you just hate the poor people, or you just hate homelessness, and you just hate bums in the street and blah 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 blah, and you don't care about our country.
I do hate.
We look
bums
beyond that, and we kind of dissect the different things, and we can put it together where this affects this affects that, this affects this, so forth and so on. And we can piecemeal these ideas together where it would work in a libertarian or free society. And that takes a lot of creativity.
Johnny is like so on the defensive about this.
Yeah, you have to...
about?
No, this is the beauty of it. Johnny,
me defending my intelligence? Oh no, I'm fine.
You weren't defending your intelligence. This is the reason this podcast exists, and this is why I think the network, the Launchpad Media exists, is because what just happened right there. You couldn't help but get sucked into a discussion defending your beliefs and libertarianism and voluntarism and all that. Like you just went. It was hilarious. And you know what, Johnny, I'm the choir man. I already get that. You know what we need. You know what we need to be working on as libertarians? Let's talk about music. Let's talk about other shit.
Fuck libertarians. Go ahead.
But no, that's a beautiful, like that right there is exactly what happens, is that we all feel the need to constantly defend these ideas so much that we literally spend our entire lives talking about them. And I think that we forget that, Johnny, you know what I care about more than your beliefs in libertarianism?
What music I like.
Well, I mean, there's that, but you're a musician. You're a musician yourself. You don't talk hardly at all about what you've done musically in your past.
Okay, Bring it.
I know we play every week. We have both of your albums that you released with Hot Rod and Romeo's in our Spotify playlist.
Nice.
What else have you done? Like, I mean, you're a musician yourself, man. Talk about that. Be a person. Be a human being. You don't need to be autistic here. This is a safe place.
I don't have to be autistic. Cool.
This is the puff piece of libertarian talk shows.
I love not being autistic. Okay, cool. We'll start from the beginning. Actually, so my entire family, or my mom at least, and my aunt, they were in the music business since probably they were 10 or 12 years old, right?
Wow.
And in Chicago, Second City, they started there and they started doing commercials for radio. All right. So that was where they kind of picked up their little thing and they started doing songs and writing music at an early age. And they worked with people like Count Basie, Pete Cetera, James Brown, Tina Turner in the 70s and 60s. And so my entire life with my mom has been in kind of the music business, entertainment business. So that's where it kind of started from, is her and what she was doing. And one day I remember I randomly did karaoke, and I started doing karaoke when I was like 17, 18 years old. And I thought, I was like, hey, I'm not too bad at this thing, and I'm going to start a band. I'm just like, you know what? I know some people. I can do this. I got some friends. We could start a band. So I started the first incarnation. It was called the Hot Rock and Romeos, and that was probably around 2002. And I just started trying it. Yeah, I started writing songs, and they were cool. Like, I just started writing songs and started doing the band, and we were around for about 10 years. We started gigging, and I had to learn the entertainment business from the ground up. I mean, there wasn't no one helped me out. And I just kept pushing. Like, this is what I want to do. I just kept pushing the music.
And that's a weird transitional place in the music business, that 2000 to 2010 area. Like, by 2010, things had kind of settled down a little bit. I don't think anybody knew where the industry was going to go at that point.
No. Actually, I lie. It was 2014, I think the band ended. So it's been about 4 years since we haven't been around. But it was a long time of me trying to get the band off the ground. And it's constantly pushing. With music, man, you have to learn the hard way. And I remember when I was green doing it, and it was hard because you have to get out there and push your music, and you have to constantly sell it. You're not out there. It just doesn't happen. Like, we always had the jokes, like, you could die from exposure, and everyone's like, it's good exposure. It's good exposure. No, fuck that bullshit. Fuck that noise. It sucks. And it's not a very luxurious life. People think, oh, you're doing what you love. No, it really sucks. And it's not fun at all. I mean, like, you're in a van with a bunch of smelly dudes, a couple chicks will look at you like, hey, but that's about it.
But you have to get on the road after the show anyway, so you don't get to spend time with those chicks that were Google eyeing you. Because I've got to drive 8 hours to the next town to be ready for the next show.
That's right. Yeah, so you're not getting paid, you're not getting laid, and you really can't drink that much because
DUI laws.
You're driving to the next fucking town. So you don't want to be hammered on your next, on your next gig. So being on the road sucks. Record sales usually suck. Everything about it sucks. And you just got to love it for you to do it. And to me, it was like making a record was the most important thing. And one of my goals I accomplished was I wanted vinyl. I didn't give a shit how I got it. I was going to do it. I want vinyl.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I did it. I got vinyl. And to me, it was okay, achievement unlocked, And so getting vinyl was one of the big goals of my life. You're not a real band unless you get vinyl record. So got the vinyl record. In the meantime, though, when I was doing the band, I produced numerous records because I figured, well, if I'm in the music industry, I might as well go to school for it. So I got my degree in audio engineering. And then I found out I really liked radio. And so I figured I could do this libertarian stuff in conjunction with the music and my passion for rock and roll and music altogether. And I try to combine everything that I loved into one package. And here I am, man. And producing records was really fun because you don't really have to do any work. You can just critique the shit out of everyone else. And
you have any fun ones on your list of production credits?
Yeah. So I did. There was a band and they were so good. And I was actually listening to it yesterday in the car. I was like, oh shit, I produced this record. And they were called Jar of Rain. And I don't think their name is called that anymore, but it was called Humans, the record. And they were like kids, like these kids in high school. They were like 17, 16, and 15. Oh, wow. And they created a full-length record, and they were just killer. Like, awesome. It's not my gig, not my style of music per se. But I was honored that they wanted me to produce that record. Mm-hmm. And it was awesome. I mean, I thought the record was really good for what it was. I mean, it was awesome, a great sound. And man, I just love producing material because I'm always like, I can always put my 2 cents in. Okay, well, you know, you need hand claps over here and the harmony. We need a full harmony back here. And, you know, we need this section to sound shorter and this section to be longer. It's cool, like kind of dictating what the hell these kids do.
I know who I need to call for the next one.
I enjoy ruling over the children. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, I know who I need to call the next time I need to produce one because I'm tired of producing my own albums. It's just annoying.
There you go.
I don't like doing it. I'm too weird to produce shit because I just want more weird stuff.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. It's really interesting. Like when you do produce a record, it's good to have another set of eyes on it, or ears rather, right? It's good to have a different input on how it should sound, because a lot of people have like their vision, but really sometimes you need another set of ears saying, you know what, you need to break this part down. You need to add this. This would make it pop.
Well, I know for a fact I'm not the average music listener. So it appealing to me is generally going to make it appeal to them less. Mm-hmm. I just know that.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, the average music listener, honestly, does not like progressive rock because it's too complicated.
That's so good, though.
Just like jazz. People don't like jazz just because of that reason. It's like, it sounds like a bunch of noise to the average person. I think like, you almost have to step out of your comfort zone and go, okay, what would the average Joe Schmucka tell you? You know, that's what I think music is about, and not really what it's about, but if you want to make a hit record, there's different steps involved versus I want to make a very experimental record, man. It's going to be so deep. Everyone's going to enjoy it because it's so deep. What's your style about? I don't know. Like, we're kind of like Iron Butterfly meets Metallica. It's so deep and nobody knows about it. And we have like influences by Daft Punk.
What's beautiful is
it. Gives a fuck.
See, you say that, but I would argue that part of my problems as a musician have always been I've never been able to classify anything I sound like. To me, I don't sound like anything. So it's like I can't even say, oh, well, if you like this, you'll like this, because I don't know anything that sounds like what I do.
I would just start classifying yourself. It makes it life easier for you and the audience.
I just wouldn't know where to begin. Like, I'd feel like, oh, this is a terrible classification. About any classification, I would just arbitrarily choose.
Yeah, like, I mean, just go with if you don't know, just go, we're a rock band.
Yeah.
You know, you can't go wrong there. You know, like, okay, cool.
I always
have synthesizers.
I always just said noise pop.
Okay, you're a rock band.
I write noise.
What's that?
I always just said noise pop.
Yeah, there you go.
Johnny's like, what the fuck does that mean?
I don't know. It's a new progressive rock term. I don't know.
No, honestly, it's an old term. It's like what a lot of the 80s like pop rock bands were, like Jesus and Mary Chain and all that shit. Where they're just loud.
The Romantics?
Maybe a little bit the Romantics. They weren't quite like that. They're not one that would kick to mind because they have a more of a roots rock kind of element to them.
I do I like the Romantics. They were a great band in the 80s.
They were absolutely. So your guy, you have this musical past, and it's like and it sounds like you even have a pedigree, as it were. And you've been podcasting for a number of years. I actually was listening to you before you started the Launchpad Media. And when you pitched me the idea, thanks to a mutual friend, Clint Rankin, I believe, I love the idea because to me, it's like I think we're working on it. I think we're the second generation, like of really doing this whole thing. And I like the idea. It's like I think we can get away from the ideas a little bit. The ideas are there. Rothbard did a really good job, and maybe now we can like focus on being human beings that just believe these things, as opposed to needing to proselytize all the time. All the time.